Tasteless will be joining us later in the program tonight. But here's the thing. This horrific assassination attempt is just one example in a much, much larger pattern of vile, disturbing left-wing hatred that now sometimes is encouraging violence. For example, there is a performance of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar that's been going on in New York City, depicting a President Trump lookalike getting brutally murdered. That's night after night. Last Friday, a protester actually rushed the stage at the play and reportedly yelled, quote, "Stop the normalization of political violence against the right." That protester will join us also later tonight. Now, in 2012, there was a theater company. They did use an Obama-like character in the same play, but can you imagine if the circumstances were the same back then as they are now? That wasn't covered a lot then. The mainstream media would be apoplectic and rushing, of course, to blame conservatives and, of course, Second Amendment supporters, and they'd be going ballistic over all of this. Now, I here on this program, I've been coming under fire from never-Trumpers who say that I'm, quote, overreacting by criticizing this play, and I don't know Shakespeare? Really? This isn't about Shakespeare. It's about glorifying, by the way, this is for Liberal Joe on MSNBC. This is glorifying violence against the President of the United States of America. Look, in 2012, if the Obama version had gotten more attention, I would have taken the same position. It was wrong then. It's wrong now. This isn't even really about freedom of speech, although I'd never called for anybody to be silenced. These liberal purveyors of hate have the right to say whatever they want, and I have a right to call them out for being beyond tasteless, vile, and disgusting. And let me remind them of the viciousness that has been spewed from the left in this country. Here's one example that is so graphic, we always have to warn you before we put it up on your screen. Kathy Griffin posing as an ISIS fighter with a fake, bloody, severed head of Donald Trump. You know what? Is posing like a jihadist with something that looks like the president's head, is that the right thing to do? Is that what we want in this country? Or is it a threat potentially against the president? Or how about this from Madonna at the Women's March with thousands of left-wing protesters, is telling a crowd of angry protesters who are in Washington, D.C. that you thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. Is that a smart thing to do? Or can it be interpreted as a threat against the president? Now, there are countless other examples of liberals making threats against the president. But here's the thing. This isn't really free speech. This isn't art. This isn't Shakespeare. This is about a rage, a hatred of this president and the left and liberals trying to objectify, dehumanize this president. They're trying to paint him as not human. Now, peaceful protests, you know what? That's not what Democrats and the left have been calling for since the election. No, they've been calling for, remember the words, resistance. So let's be clear. I'm not saying that the left is responsible for what happened last week or Bernie Sanders supporters are. That is not Bernie Sanders supporters, what happened in Alexandria, Virginia. I won't say that because you have to hold people accountable when they commit acts of violence. They're responsible. But you cannot deny there is this out-of-control rage and hatred coming from the left in America today. It is a very, very dangerous game that is being played out here, and it's one the left plays, frankly, all the time. Remember back in 2008, President Obama said this about yours truly.
Mr. Burgess, he can speak.
Oh, put me on your staff.
I might have to put Mr. Burgess on Fox News. You know, give him. I'll put Mr. Burgess up against Sean Hannity. He'll tear him up.
And Obama also said, get in their face. Remember during the 2016 campaign, former Vice President, crazy Uncle Joe Biden, said this about then candidate Donald Trump.
The press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
Yeah, if I said taking Uncle Joe behind the gym, what would happen to me? Now, we're going to have more on this topic later in the program tonight. It's so important. But also tonight, special counsel